and 11 VIP of Land, which features terrorists, the icon Deshaun Basquiat, and the icon Naomi Iyaki, and the legendary Jeremy Gordon Gucci. Clap your hands. How many of you guys are great MSA? I go by the name of Lucky, Gail Moore, Stevie Moore. Ooh, can I see? Can I see? That boss see? That fake face? Camille Basquiat, Camille Basquiat. That fake face? Give me face, give me beauty, and give me face. Give me beauty, and give me face. Tell it. See it. Girls, come see it. Walking Camille Basquiat around. Give him a round of applause. Oh, can I see? Just to me. That Melvin, that Melvin, that Melvin, that new player, that new player. Every walk back, every walk back, every walk back, every hop on back, hop, hop, pop the pop up, rock that wrong way. Melvin is hockey new player. Give Melvin a round of applause. That's a walk up from your motherfucking ass. When you talk about a motherfucking punk, when you talk about a motherfucking shot, then you players don't give you what you want. Let's go, Rubo. Can I see? Just to me, another pumper on the scene. That little room, that single box, that little room bitch, that single box. Pump that DJ up, 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 pump that DJ up. They around, this what you said, they the one in this field. Yes, give her a round of applause. Can I see? Just to me, that Uno, that Basquiat, that all-American Sunday, that all-American Sunday, that all-American Sunday, that all-American Sunday, that all-American, that Basquiat, bitch, it's Basquiat, it's Basquiat, bitch, that all-American. Y'all give Uno a round of applause. Can I see? Just for me, I'm going to, baby, a something, baby, that must be Asian, that must be Asian, that no player must say, Iyaki. Hold up. DJ. Hold on, DJ. Hold on, DJ. Hold on, DJ. Hold on, put that bitch down. Hold on, put that DJ. Hold on, DJ, bitch down. I don't need no DJ. I don't need no person. I don't need no person. I don't need no PNC. Let's go, bitch. Y'all just want to see a round of the motherfucking world. Do that shit with no effort. What? DJ, hold on. What's the thing? Okay, guys. Yeah, we got a few more. Thunder. Ooh. Thunder. Thundercat. Oh. Clap. Let me get your energy up. Let me get your energy up. You got that bitch. You burn and I got. You rock and I got. You burn and I got. Give me that clap. Can I see that? That's me. Yeah.
That's what I told him to do.
Let's say, we like, baby. On my mama.
On air.
On my hood.
I look what?
I will fly.
And what?
I will motherfucking do it. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Now, for the few of you who might not know, I am the other legendary Byron Juicy and I have the pristine honor of being your host, a future of the city, from Ballroom to Hollywood. Right now, I will introduce my esteemed co-host and brother, my dear, good Judy in the name of Juicy and me, I keep you glad. My brother, 11, if you ain't put on your feet yet, I'm trying to put up on your feet. Let's start with some picture rules. Some icons. Hold on. Well, before we introduce the lady of the evening, I want to bring out a founding father of the beautiful house of Busty Yachts. Let's see that I see all here. Thanks, I watch you guys. Let's give it up for our resounding, legendary, and iconic panel for being here on tonight.
Please tell us your name, your house affiliation, your status, and how long you've been in Ballroom.
I'm the kitten on the piano. What's going on, West Coast? How y'all doing? That was cute. What's going on, West Coast? How y'all doing? Thank you. Okay, I am legendary Jeremy Gorgeous Gucci. I started the West Coast chapter of Gorgeous Gucci. I also started the West Coast chapter of Juicy Couture. West Coast Juicy. Yeah, that's what you want to write to.
How long have you been in Ballroom?
I walked my first ball in 2007. I don't know what that equates to, but...
Legendary. 16.
16 years?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Hello, my name is Naomi. I've been in the scene. This year will actually make 21 years. So
She's of age.
I am in the house with Miyake Mugler. And I'm known for breaking down barriers and open doors.
Hey Sean, Basquiat started the shit. To be honest, I've been in it since like 99. I had my first dip in 98, but I only want to say 99 though. So, but from that point forward, you do the math, you know who it is.
Okay.
Moving right along. Thank you guys for that transparency. But the next question is, what was your first ballroom experience? No shame. And how would that impact you, especially for you to receive said status for today?
Wow. The gag is my first actual ballroom experience walking the ball was against Sean. And we both got chopped. And Arnie fatigue.
You're right.
And for me, going to the ball was like falling into like Wonderland. I was literally Alice falling into Wonderland. I literally had spent like a month or two prior to that watching VHS tapes. I just told my age. But I was watching all these fun queens on the VHS tape, different clips of them, and I finally go to the ball. I think it was Awards Ball 2003, right? And then I go to the bar and then I get there and then like they call for a fun queen performance and then I'm seeing Alora, I'm seeing Mika, I'm seeing Deja, and then for LSS, Sanaya called out, Alyssa, woo, that night was fab. I felt like that was like the best introduction from going from VHS to tape, and then look, we sitting here today.
Oh, my bad. I would say my first experience of ballroom, I can say going to a ball, but mine was at like in a village. I used to go every day and like, drop-in centers like HMI, which we used to attend. That's how we used to get our practice on, by going around our friends and people we knew and pump the beat and do the services and get fed and pump the beat again and do it the next day. But, I could say my first ball was, to be honest, in Newark, New Jersey. And I walked the category I wasn't supposed to because I ain't know no different. And I went out there and got chopped, and that was the name of the game. And I think it was the St. Clair ball, but I went there and I was like, oh my God, I want to do this again. But that's the story. You go to the after-school centers and shit. But like that was my first function, and ever since then I was like, oh my God, I want to do this. And that same day I took my shirt off and wrapped it around in a bun and walked the runway. I deserve to be chopped.
Oh, you have runway?
Not runway.
Oh, with a bun. Okay, my first function, I had got a call. I was in Atlanta, and I was hanging out with Simone Tishi and Mia Tishi. People knew them back in Japan and Tokyo. That's when they used to wear the American Apparel shirts with the collar pop. We're going to this club. The 708 in Atlanta used to have these clubs, these balls, and it started late at like 4 a.m. So we went, and I remember seeing Andre for the first time. I met Andre for the first time. I heard about Ms. Rahi. I think that's when you were Ms. Rahi. And I was just floored. I think Mia was a ninja at that time. Whoa, all the way back. And I remember going there and being like, okay. And I remember I was in the back and Mia ripped my shirt up and was like, you gotta walk sex out. So that's when I started walking. I got chopped, but yeah, like it was cool. But yeah, that was my first experience in Atlanta, 708, with me and Simone.
Thank you guys for sharing. That leads me to my next question for each of the panelists. What about this community keeps you involved and coming back year after year? And for those that are in positions of leadership, and specifically for you, the founder, what inspired you to create your house?
I'm gonna start because I know there's for me, I think mine has had a shift. I think in the past 2 years, I've shifted over into being a father, being a parent, being a leader, opening up chapters. I did not see this for myself when I got in Ballroom, and it just kind of fell into my lap. It was something that I sought out for. It was, I guess, a need that I thought was needed in a void on this side. And so for me, what keeps me in is like the youth. The Kiki scene has been, I started the Kiki scene late as like a parent, but I'm seeing this like hunger and this wanting, this need from the youth that really is pushing me. And so that's what my driving force is now, is creating spaces like Bella the Ball, creating spaces like this, and just being a part of you guys' journey is what really keeps me in Ballroom. I still enjoy walking. I'm not stopping no time soon. I think I'm walking more now with Legends than I did when I wasn't. But it's the giving back part for me, so that the kids don't really have to go through what I went through, or the lack of knowledge that I had coming up in the scene.
I can always say it's always about, what you learn, what you get, what your experiences, but when you enjoy it and you kind of like know what you like about it, you always come back to it. Right. And you can ask just about all the probably legends or icons, all the famous, why they come back to a ball. You've been experiencing so long, but it's just something that you enjoy. Maybe a family aspect, maybe the competition, maybe the environment, going in the room, or maybe just being accepted and loved and celebrated and all that jazz. And I think that changes in so many different ways. And I can honestly say myself and Naomi probably seen a lot of changes in this shit, because, from the time where we wouldn't see ourselves in this room talking to people right now compared to where it is now, and even where it is further going, So honestly, I don't know why, but it's something that's in the room.
For me, I feel like still being around and coming out to Ballroom, it shows people that no matter where you are in life, you should always remember where you came from. And for me, Ballroom is home. There's nowhere else in the world that I can go, and even though I dealt with a lot of bullshit in Ballroom scene, honey, this has not been roses for me. But it's my home. It's what built me. It built me being strong. It helped me with my emotions. It helped me express myself. And I feel like it's very important for people that are coming into the scene, the new generation, that they still see me being a part of the generation and, showing love and going to the Kiki balls. For me, I'd rather go to a Kiki ball than go to a major ball. I would go to a Kiki ball and vogue down and be at the major balls, because for me, it's for the kids. Like, you have to inspire them. And there's many ways of inspiring people on social media, but for me, it's about doing the work in person and, showing them the love that they want to receive. And also, going to the scene, it's not like being out in the world. Coming into the scene, you receive flowers from the people, and you don't have to work too hard because they know your journey and they can relate.
And before we turn up, clap it up, no shame. Sing it like a lot of pop. I do want to highlight those sentiments, especially with like how they shine with your work you're doing with Debbie Allen Dance Studio right now. Naomi, you are showing up. Even your latest appearance at the Juicy Ball, no shade, and really showing the love of the children, and being the blueprint, and even too, y'all already know, this is my West Coast father, and Charlie, I want to thank you for bringing me into Juicy, and not only bringing me in, but deeming me your legendary LA father, no shade. Because I don't know, he told me right before the ball, me daddy, what a daddy, that's me, but, so thank you, adding to the legacy. I see y'all fruit, no shade. Now, the next question. How has Ballroom shaped you as an artist? And to what degree would you say it prepared you to curate the illuminous platforms you have created for yourselves?
For me, at first, going through a lot of stuff that I went through Ballroom, I didn't really understand why they chose to treat me the way they did. But I have realized that going through those things have really built me as a person. It has made me resilient. It has made me know my worth. It has made me know who I am, and when I go into spaces and into rooms, to stay true to myself. And that's something that is important. A lot of times we lose ourselves with social media. We lose ourselves because we're looking into somebody else's life, and it looks so glamorous, but you actually don't know what half of those people are going through. And for me, I feel like a lot of my accomplishments have came from my passion, my true passion. And that's something that a lot of people forget. When you're an artist, a lot of people, they think because you're a public figure that you're public property. And that, to me, has been a hard thing, you know? But I stay true to myself. I let people know that I have boundaries just like everyone else. And that's very important to express boundaries. And also, being visible does so much for people in so many different ways. A lot of times we don't want to be in the spotlight because it is hard. It's so to others, everybody wants to be a star, everybody wants to be in the spotlight, but when you get to these platforms and it gets tough, you crumble. And you know, that's something that for me I had to learn. I had to learn that I built my lane. I created my lane. No one can take that away from me. And that's my power.
It shaped me, I can honestly say, because I realized I had a voice somewhere, and it's been happening since I was younger. They always like, again, I guess the voice, I had something that I knew I had to like kind of work on, and I was given the opportunity to use that, you know, as well as a competitor, but I also use my voice in that space as well too. One thing that I'm glad that we were able to experience during a specific time, Naomi, as well too, is that I can honestly say the reason why we are so respected, because, and I heard this quote recently, but winners don't allow losers to create the history, right? Because of the work you put in. That's why we're always going to be acknowledged, because of the work that we put in. And sometimes the losers will try to create a different reality because the winners don't have to put too much work in to acknowledge the fact that they've been winning. So with the work you've been put in, it speaks for itself, whether people like it or not. So this is why it creates the path to the future for those who've been putting the work in, because we're not allowing the people to change what's been going on. Yes, the challenges is there, but if we don't face the challenges, then we're allowing this wrongness. This is why, you know, we came up with no game, and it's all over the fucking world. It's so many people. No girls. Thank you. So it's so interesting, and again, I just remember the day like Leon was like, let's do this, and I was like, okay. In Australia. But again, it's sort of like there's some passion that we speak about, that the reason why we have to acknowledge it that way, and it's to a point that now people are really correcting others, because again, you have to start really taking control. So again, the work that we put in can make sure that what we are saying can be acknowledged and said in such a correct way. So I'm glad we're able to do and have that.
I feel like my journey was a little bit flipped. Like, I started in the entertainment sector first. Like, I was building my name and dancing for whoever, whatever. And I think that built my skin for ballroom. Like, that flipped it for me. So now I have never been one of those people who felt like a judge tried me, or they're playing on my time, or I was supposed to win. Like, I take it like an audition. Like, I walk in the room, I give what I have, whether you like it or not, it's fine. I go home and I go to Panda Express and I pay it. Like, it is what it is. Like, you know, because I know deep down inside that there's so many factors beyond my talent as to why maybe I didn't get that vote, or maybe I didn't get that pick. Like, there's so many other things beyond what you think it is. We are so quick to like break ourselves apart and tear ourselves down and make ourselves the fault as to why something didn't happen. Now, if you look foolish. But in certain things, like, it's so beyond you, and I think that's what entertainment taught me, was to not take everything so personal, show up the best way I can, and go home. And then come back again tomorrow. So I was able to kind of experience mine the other way around. So I think that's what it has done for me.
Me too. Okay, so I will speak for our generation and say that most of us first became conscious of the icons Deshaun and Naomi from America's Best Dance Crew season 4. If y'all could take us back to 2009 and tell us what was it like to be taking Ballroom on your back and kind of going into this space and showcasing not only your talent but the culture.
Well, I'm gonna start off at auditions, because that's when it starts, it's the auditions. For me personally, I gagged that we're like outside walking to the end of the line because we have to line up for the auditions, and as we're walking through all the dancers, they know who we are. So that was the first thing for me personally, like, wait, how the hell these people know who we are? And then coming into the show, being a woman with a trans experience, and me knowing that I've never seen any trans people on TV, especially not on a positive note. We've always seen Jerry Springer and stuff up alike, but we never have seen like a person of trans experience, especially a person of color, like soaring and doing something. So for me, I was very skeptical having to come into this world of like dance and this world of TV, and then I have to sit there and tell these people my business. And a lot of like the production of America's Best Dance School, when it came to me, they wanted me to sell my trans story. And for me, I felt like I'm not a handicapped person. You know, they wanted to use my transness as a handicap thing to get me views and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I'm not here for that. I'm here to dance. This contract is to dance, not to share my story. So they were upset about that. So a lot of the edits that they did, they made sure to make it seem like I was angry, that I was upset, that I was like, that I didn't want to be there, which at a certain time I didn't because of things that we were dealing with members and stuff. But I felt like the first day on set, when we was on the stage and like all the crews are like standing on the stage and we're waiting to be spotlighted so they could introduce us, and the people were screaming my name in the crowd, that gave me a sense of relief. Because I didn't know how the world was gonna accept us. For us, it was never about, let's go on TV and let's show off and let's do this and this and that. For us, it was more so, oh well, we've been seeing these videos of people voguing and people talking about the 5,000 and why not, let's do this and let's go into TV and let's show these people where this came from. We didn't think that we was gonna make it to, what was it, we was top 5? Yeah, we thought we were gonna go home the first night. The actual experience overall with like the dancers were so dope because they showed us so much love, except for a few pieces of straight I couldn't take my teeth in. But you know, that's neither here but there. But I feel like they showed us love. Outside of the whole Little Mama thing, which I felt like was so uncalled for, like literally was so uncalled for, we had a good time. They set us up for the last episode when they had us do the Halle Berry challenge, Mr. Why? But I learned a lot about myself on the show, and I honestly felt like that was the beginning and ending of my career because of how they edited everything, how Little Mama was able to disrespect me, and you know, and like nobody really did anything because back then it wasn't about like showing up for your people and being like, let's cancel this. You know, it wasn't about that. People didn't even know we had the option to cancel people. So that for me was like, it was tough. But then I did the with my hair video, and that for me was like, okay, she's working with children, she's able to do things, and from there, yeah.
I think life ate Little Mama up after that film. No shade.
Yeah, my new name,
Yes, you did. We went through some shit going up America's Best Dance Crew. Like, again, we had fun, but it is some challenges. And I think, you know, I can honestly say, and this is the reason why we're probably here speaking right now, or even able to speak and go to different spaces and have these conversations, Naomi, because I remember one moment, okay, can I go to this moment? We were being celebrated. You go on that stage and to hear everybody, and they screamed for our team the loudest. Whenever we came on stage, they said Vogue Evolution, everybody went crazy. Now, they like their girls, but they went up for us, and that felt great. And I go through moments, my personal stuff, and my sister known me for a long time, and I was having one of my little moments, and this is why I love this lady, because I was going through my moment, and they just love to bring a camera in front of you or try to figure something out. Again, we was there just to Vogue, you know, we did a show we had to do, and they was trying to catch my vulnerable moment. And my sister jumped on top of me and covered me up, and was like, move that fucking camera out the way. It was like, yes, get it out the way. And compared to what we knew, I think we knew what the future holds right at that moment compared to what we were going through, because other people were doing different things during that time. And we can see consciously, you know, we had a lot of things in front of us. I can honestly say it was challenging on an up and down because like I was working with someone who we were putting this group and everything together to do something, but when you as a team we were going through our own personal stuff, and also we were put in a space, and let's now talk about production wise with it, because it was so many things that where they just felt like oh child, just go on stage and do it, oh just do that, and it wasn't that. And I think
Mention how they used to try to make it over.
Okay, so well, this is the thing. It was good and bad experiences because again, I love the fact that we were a group that was openly gay group. But baby, they wanted us to be extremely gay on camera. Like they would run to us and like, I remember when we first seen our America's Best. Yes, it wasn't enough sass, and I was like, well, y'all, come on, y'all. I got a deep voice. I don't think I'm gonna match the sassiness, but they wanted us to be extra gay, and that wasn't me. And I'm not expressive like that. That's why I probably watched the season. I wasn't recording too much behind the scenes because I'm like, that's not me.
You got to get into the people who did.
I was like, that's not me. But again, I go back to where, and I agree with Laomi, they didn't understand what we had. And I think they wanted to make so much, like make fun of what we had, because I look back at how we were being interviewed with them, and they didn't know shit they were talking about. And to be honest, I felt like they were trying to find jokes within us, within that situation, to find the wrongs within us, because they didn't even know how to judge us at the end if you actually go back and watch it. So again, I realized we were in a space that they weren't ready for. So it was teaching us how to be prepared for even stuff before you go on that stage and also on that stage. Because it could be some bullshit while you're on that stage, just for the lights. But also, if you don't put the work behind that stage too, you can get put on that stage and you get just what you deserve.
I love that, and I love that you guys spoke to how groundbreaking your work was back in 2009. One thing, watching your all you guys and my lady of the night, watching your ascension was so organic, and I have deemed all of you the founding parents of the House of Commercial Success. Let's be clear, no shade. I'm telling you, like you said, me being a young DL Butch Queen in 2009, seeing you, no shade, on all the American Best Dance Troupe, like you said, doing Willow Smith, I Whip My Hair, No Shade, the remix. That I watch you on NBC, doing the Emerald City moment and the Wiz. You see what I'm saying? No shade, no shade. Johnny, watching you with Daddy Kane and Dawn and Wild and Faith, when you were a dance legend before you come up, like, I literally would see this, and I remember my first time actually coming to LA, I went to Pride for the first time. And I don't even know if you remember this, Bishop. I was at the entrance and you were at the entrance. And I knew who you was, but I didn't even know how to come up with and approach you. But you just looked and you saw me and you just gave me this, and I just walked on by. And I said, no shade. I was reaching because I'm like, but he don't even know, no shade. I said, come in and get my first ride in LA. Because I no shade. So, but I knew subconsciously I would have this moment to highlight you guys, and knowing that it was so beautiful to see that, for y'all to be icons and legends, and to also pour back into us, work founding parents and emperor of the hopper of commercial success. Let's be clear. So,
can I say something? Honestly, if you think about it, when you put yourself in these vulnerable situations and moments or experiences, where there's an outcome at the end of it, there's a fight for it. And I say that because, again, if you ask us about our vulnerable moments where we had to go in a space which isn't comfortable for us, but different, and we're able to challenge it. And when you're able to exist in a space, because there's space to exist for us, that's when you be there and represent it right. So from whether we auditions, from TV shows, where we choreograph something, whether we be on it, whether we experience something, it's a different space to come into. And you not only have to think about yourself, but you have to think about others as you're doing it, but make sure you are who you are in this existing space too.
I want to comment on that. And also, a lot of times you will be in a space and not realize you are in that space. Don't let your current circumstance make you feel inadequate to being in that space. because I suffered a lot from like imposter syndrome. There are a lot of moments in my life that I look back on that I wasn't present for. That people are like, oh my God, how was it? And I'm like, I can't really tell you because I mentally wasn't there because I didn't feel like I was worth that space because of my past and things I've done or like how people view me. And so now I can speak on it, still dealing with that trauma, but we'll be creating and we'll be in such a beautiful moment, but we'll be stuck in where we are currently and feel like we're not supposed to be there or like it's imposter syndrome. So have grace with yourself and know that that's all a part of the journey and the process.
It's the journey.
And also, one more thing, and also it's okay to say no. Don't say yes to every opportunity, because every opportunity is not bad, honey. Trust and believe, I've said no way more than I've said yes. Know your worth.
Know your worth. So like I said, being founding parents and emperor of the House of Commercial Success, CF, fix the noise, you all have worked with some of the most prolific, iconic cultural institutions of the 21st century. From working with Beyonce, Rihanna, Fenty, J-Lo, Denny Kane, Nike, HBO, Max Equinox, all that jazz work, okay? Grand Prize. Just to name a few, do you feel a responsibility to represent the community when collaborating with such prolific brands?
Yes, I feel like it's very important, especially me as a human being. Like, my brand is being real. So, if it does not align with what I am as a human being, and if it's not gonna make Ballroom to a next level, I'm not gonna do it. I don't care who the brand is. For me, the brand has to make me feel really celebrated in a genuine way. There are so many people that jump on the LGBTQ plus train and they want to just do it like, well, it's, you know, like for me, specifically Nike was groundbreaking for me as a person alone. It changed me and it made me realize so much about myself that I already knew, but I didn't feel 100% because of like Ballroom. Nike celebrated my body type, me being athletic, something that in Ballroom was always a bad thing. I was always disrespected, misgendered, treated less than because I was athletic compared to the other femme queens. They have body, they have implants, and they have, you know, all this voluptuous body. And Nike celebrated me for the athlete that I am. They celebrated me for my journey. They celebrated me for Ballroom. And it wasn't just that. They had a relationship with me. I was able to talk to them and let them know how they can give back to our community, especially Ballroom itself. The second year after I did my Nike campaign, I made sure that Nike had, they brought in 10 different houses, about like 5 to 7 members each house, and they basically came to the headquarters and they had a huge room set up with all different kind of clothes, sneakers, and all of that, and they were able to pick and choose whatever they want. I've had them donate for HMI, and I've done classes through Nike at HMI, and I feel like that's important. A lot of times, these people, they use you for a gig, and then you don't hear from them again. Where, as opposed to me, if you guys have followed my journey, a lot of the times that I work with stuff is again and again and again. I'm not just doing one gig with a brand, and it's like, oh, well, she worked with them, and I haven't heard from them. And I feel like that's very important, knowing your worth, and knowing that when you collaborate with brands like this, they're collaborating with you for a reason. You're not working for them. You're working together.
Yes.
And that's what sets the difference.
I love that. Work, Mother Commercial Success.
Okay.
I think for mine it was a tad different. Like because I was doing it earlier on, I wasn't brought on because I was in Ballroom. A lot of times people didn't even know I was in Ballroom. I remember you said once, you was like, you know, if you wasn't in Ballroom, you wouldn't know you was in Ballroom. Like I kind of separated the two, not on purpose, just how things was. I think it was when I got more involved, more so when I did like Step Up and dealing with Lionsgate and Stars. I remember verbatim episode 4 was called Gold, and we sat at the table reading, we were reading and stuff like that. And they have like examples. It was like, oh, we'll have like this type of person, that person, that type of person. I remember being like, well, why don't y'all just call them? Like, why is it let's have a like only? Like, yeah, like, why can't we just call this person? I remember Jason was also in the room, and I spoke, and at this time, this is probably the most scared I've been because I'm new. This is my first acting job. I ain't trying to get fired. Like, I'm just trying to do my job. And, Don't get me lying on camera. But I remember sitting back with Jamaica, the choreographer, after the table reading. I was like, there's no way that I can be in Ballroom and like watch this episode just be this way. Like, is there any way that I can like call people in? Can I help like do stuff? And I remember her being like, okay, let's go talk to Holly, the creator. Let's see what we can do. And I was like, well, what's the scene set up like? They're like, oh, it's gonna be a Vogue scene, but then we're gonna do. It was like Vogue and drag. I was like, well, you know, like the drag scene is different from the ballroom scene, so we have to like separate the two. And so then they were like, okay, well, who could we call? And I remember the first person I called, because I was in Atlanta, I called Stasha. I was like, Stasha, I need some girls. Like, she was a good mix in between, like with the pageant scene, but in Ballroom. And then Stasha helped me call. I remember we called different people in, and I got Simone Tishi to come Vogue. They wanted us to like teach the dancers a Vogue number when you could have just called Voguers in Atlanta to do that. So that's the stuff that I'm sure we all deal with, where they're like, okay, you just teach them how to Vogue. I'm like, why don't you just hire Voguers? Like, it's really that simple. And so I think recently now is more, I haven't really done any ballroom campaigns, but I'm in a lot of rooms where I see a lot of noting and things happening where I'm like, no, just call people in. I remember when I was touring with Danny Kane, they wanted me and the other guy to vote. I'm in ballroom, but I don't vote. No. So I remember I called Simone. That's my girl. I called Simone and I called Tamaya. They came out and then in New York during World Pride and they were looking for Tamaya. She was looking for her life, but they came out. And so yeah, that's been my thing. Like just calling people in and like it's so easy. And I feel like a lot of these networks and stuff just don't do the work. They would rather pay someone a whole bunch of money to teach someone else how to do something when you could just go right to the source and have it done correctly. So that's my role in that. I'm always making sure if I'm in a space where they're trying to do anything that's ballroom related, let's just do it right, and have integrity with it.
So I'm reading the question here, right? And about how do I feel responsible when it comes to, okay. Well, here's my thing about it, right? We're always going to run into this space of now ballroom is mainstream. Now we added mainstream in ballroom. I remember it was underground. I didn't have underground, so now mainstream. Sorry, baby. So now it's mainstream. So I always go back to a space of when people really were into it and why is it where it is now. And I can say one thing that helps even us up here as we continue to do the work that we do when it comes to us and our experience with ballroom in the industry is you start to build relationships. Whether relationships are good, whether it's bad, whether it's trifling, whether it's a relationship builder. So not only are we building a relationship that we already have in our own community, we now have to step into a space to figure out how do we represent ourselves while representing the whole community, while representing, you guys, while trying to represent what we do. So, this is why we become friends with some of the artists that we work with, and sometimes you realize the people that you work with aren't the people you're supposed to work with, or you realize some of the brands that you're working with, where they're going for. And this is what hurts the most, because a lot of people don't understand the work that we do behind the scenes to make sure it's okay, or at least get enough to make sure we get all that we need. But the fact that majority of times when the product don't seem right, the ones who are the part of it is getting attacked. But you never know the work that is being done. So this is why the relationships are being created with the brands and the artists and some of the people we're working with, because their eyes are open to our world. And I'm glad that, myself, Leomi, and a little bit of others put in the work to make sure that, what's happening now is supposed to happen now. Because when it wasn't going on, wasn't nobody doing nothing. We were representing ourselves when it came to ballroom in a space where it was so underground, in another space to where people who are from ballroom didn't want to represent themselves publicly even when they stood in those spaces. So I want people to understand the work that we do when it comes to collaborating, working with either, whether it's an artist, whether it's a brand, whether it's a company, whether it's anything. You still have to know the business and know what you're getting yourself into even before you finish that product to say that you did something with someone. So right now, yes, I feel responsible because on top of my integrity and with ballroom, myself is with it. And when I go wrong, or when it's being seen wrong, the ballroom scene gonna take it, they're gonna read the shit out of me. So this is why I love Leomi says, yeah, don't say no to yes to everything. Say motherfucking no, because if you say yes, it ain't gonna do nothing but harm you. If you feel like that coin's gonna make sense to you. Honesty hour, and love a coin, seem cute, would love it, but if it don't make sense for me, and I'll be put in that space, and then I know what type of people I'm dealing with. So the relationships that you build here is either gonna make you or it's either gonna break you. Because you're gonna either make the right decision or make the wrong one, or you run into a right person who makes the wrong one. So, you know, it's important for us, and this is why I heard people even lately about us addressing things that we do in our community, because we address it anyway, but because we addressed it publicly, they think we're gatekeeping. Bitch, yes, we're gatekeeping. Because if we do not, I'm sorry, if we do not, just like we just almost lost by saying a word of a dip, bitch, and how hard was that? We almost lost that. So if we have to gatekeep to make sure you're saying exactly what the fuck we need to say, because some of us can't say it, but we can, we will. So the relationships have to remain stern, have to be on your stuff. Stay who you are. Don't say yes to everything. Don't agree with a bitch. If you gotta argue a bitch down, argue her down. Yeah. You know, so yes, it feels, because we went through all of this, it's cool and everything, y'all. You know, to be honest, I feel like there's other things I haven't touched yet, but I know it's there. And I'm sure they feel the same way. But the work is not done just here. You know?
Yes, and also I just want to highlight another founding parent who will be founding godmother, Danielle. Another one, career we watch, who's been in the trenches for Ballroom, for the girls, commercially. Danielle, we love you. No shame.
All right, so I think the good segue from that question is on the backside for those who are following along. Ballroom has been historically exploited and manipulated by mass media, infamously in how Paris is Burning was filmed, marketed, and the people involved were compensated. In 2024, what responsibilities do you feel Hollywood and pop culture has when depicting the ballroom community in mass media?
Right, brother.
Well, first of all, a lot of people in the industry, they have not done any research. They don't care about research, they don't care about history, and that's where it starts. That's where the problem starts. I feel like with everything in the world, there's history behind it. There's a reason why it started, there's a day that it started, and there are people who ran it and all of that. A lot of times with like Hollywood, they want to kind of whitewash everything. And I'm keeping it real because I've been in spaces where they try to do that. And for me, a lot of times I seem problematic because I'm a person that stands on her 2 feet. I know what ballroom means to me. I know what ballroom means to the people that were here before me, and I know what ballroom will mean to people that come after. And honestly, there are not too many people out here that are fighting for ballroom respect. A lot of people, they're fighting for a spotlight. Everybody feels like they're entitled. And it's like, no, you're not entitled to something unless you actually work hard and you put work into what you want to be respected for. Just because you came to a ball, you've been walking the ball for 5 years, doesn't mean I'm gonna respect your talent, because what have you really done? A lot of times, people in the community, they're like, oh, they wish Ballroom would stay underground, blah, 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 blah. That's bullshit. Had Ballroom stayed underground, a lot of people wouldn't even be inspired to actually get into acting, to get into being an artist, because we never knew we had an option. Post gave jobs to so many women of trans experience, of color. So many. That's something that people don't talk about. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about how that opened so many doors for women of trans experience to even feel comfortable to be in spaces working outside of sex work. That's important.
No shade. Holler.
Like, it pisses me off, especially because a lot of people in Ballroom, they don't understand how important this bridge, crossing this bridge is and was for Ballroom. A lot of people, they wanted it to stay sacred, but how far have we gone with Ballroom being sacred? Not that far, honestly. Within the underground, yes, but now, people get gigs off Ballroom, not only in America now, because we're international. So I think anybody who's a part of Ballroom, when you're going into these spaces that have to do with Hollywood, be yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself, because these people look for you because of that. But they will try to change it to accommodate the people. But if you're not relatable 100%, who are you relating to?
She ate that. I mean, how do you go after that? I mean, I guess I would just say, like what I said earlier, like when it comes to like the responsibility of it in Hollywood, like if you're in the space, if you're in the room, use your voice. Don't just sit there and say nothing because you're afraid of what the repercussions may be. If you got fired, you were supposed to get fired. That was not your job. You know, but then you also don't want to be the person that's in that clip, in that scene, when the ballroom scene is reading that clip and reading that scene, and you in there. And I bet not see you on the no Facebook post because you didn't say nothing while you was in the room, because you wanted that chat. It be like that. I've had to read many of my friends. I won't have to say no names, but y'all know I'm friends and I dance with a certain individual. And there are a lot of times where I have to look at this person and be like, I'm gonna have to skip this one through. I just can't. I can't do it. We not gonna do it. You know, flaws and all. But don't think because I'm with certain people that I'm allowing certain shit. They're hearing my voice. Now, I won't do it publicly because there's such thing as cool and, you know, respect. But if I'm, she got the house. If I am in the room, like I'm going to use my voice, and there's going to be a lot of pushback. Please believe there will be pushback. They will make you feel like you are wrong. They will make you feel like you do not belong. They want you to feel like you should be honored to be in their space because you are a ballroom person in that space. Bitch, you called me. I didn't call y'all. You found us. We didn't find you. So you just have to the biggest thing is to remember your voice and your power in those spaces where they're made to make you feel like you should be lucky to be there.
Yes, no, if you answer it for you so we can shift the place. Okay. Well, as we all know, I love how you spoke about it, Naomi, where nothing comes from nothing. Everything has a source. And for our collegiate girls, the works side the page, credit your source. I'm just saying. So with that being said, as we all know, in the early 00s, the Kiki scene came about in New York, which is a developmental scene for the youth, because you all know a lot of your favorite legends and icons, you have to sneak into the functions, right? But with institutions such as HMI and the legacy of HMI, what APLA is doing now, correct? We would develop the youth, teach them well and let them lead the way. Okay, my Whitney voice. So with that being said, also, Naomi, I want to start with you because as we know, you're amongst family. It's giving juicy, it's giving juicy, it's giving juicy, and it's giving founding. Juicy, as y'all don't know, that y'all from the founders with Courtney of our international iconic house. Now, and like I saw that motherfucker, and this little secret, Naomi, with your recent viral clip at the Go Juicy Ball, the girls really want to know, is it giving juicy, or what is your history with the Kiki scene?
Well, I was around when the Kiki scene first started. The Kiki scene actually started at HMI with us. Yeah. Aisha, my mother Tahiri, and a few others. That's where the Kiki scene actually started. And when the Kiki scene first started, it wasn't about these huge grand prizes. It wasn't about having these effects on or nothing. We literally came into HMI. They would have a pantry where they have clothes that they donated and things like that. It was your job to use your imagination and go in that closet and come out with an effect. And I feel like that helped us. That helped us creativity-wise, and it prepared us for ballroom. Now it has become something completely different, which I love the growth of it, but I feel like a lot of times the people that come into the Kiki scene, they don't know why it was created and how it was created. They're so lost into trying to make the Kiki scene into their own mainstream, when it wasn't that. The Kiki scene was supposed to prepare you, it's supposed to be a kiki to prepare you for a ball. A lot of people will come to a Kiki ball and you wouldn't, if you're a part of the mainstream, you wouldn't go to a Kiki ball walk in the same category. Like in the Kiki scene, I'm known for realness, face, sex item, best dressed, I walked all the categories. Where nowadays it's more of a smaller mainstream for the younger kids. I feel like a lot of times we get lost in growth, but sharing stories and sharing history is how people get educated.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I read it right because I could just go off.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to answer that, but no, we got to change it.
No. I just don't want to go off the question because my mind could just like, okay, great. I'm making sure.
No, you so good.
So, here's my thing about it, right? You know, we've been around since the beginning of the Kiki scene stuff. It's grown into a space to different kind of like explanation of what we see today. Like again, I didn't see Kiki scene being where it is today, not taking anything back from it because I celebrate it because it's still fun and it's amazing. But then at the same time, I feel like, you know, when compared to where we started, is in a complete different place to where it is. Like Leonie just said, you'll find people who would rather be in the Kiki scene and not mainstream. And it,
For
for 15 years before they walk Virgin Vogue in the main scene.
And then finally come out Virgin Vogue at the mall.
Yeah, and again, there's supposed to be a space where you're supposed to go and just do what you will and feel. So again, I'm always like, I love it, I support it. I still go to Kiki functions, damn near every city, state, and every country in the world. But I think, you know, the balance that needs to happen is, and like Leonie said it best, like we're supposed to be there to have a good time and do stuff that you normally don't do and get the energy, which it feels good, right? It feels good to be at a fucking Kiki ball, right? Yeah, we know. That's why we did the things, because it felt good to go with your friends, with other friends, and come inside of a room and create houses and then Kiki about it the whole same time and do it again the next day. And then walk around like, yeah, bitch, I'm a Lipton. You know about that. But what I mean is like, the difference that we have to it's still responsibility there too. As much as you probably may not, because like myself and Leonie won't participate like full 100% today. Right, but we still have a responsibility because we go in that room and they're like, oh my God, it's Leonie. Oh my God, Keishawn. Oh my God, and you bring all up because again, we know what it's like. We know the energy, we know the space. So it's gonna continue to grow. It's gonna grow. So it's up to not only us, but up to everybody else out there who is here for the time, for the growth, for the change, for the argument, for the shade, for the Kiki, for the other stuff. So it's gonna happen. Because then again, God knows. Because I remember there was a woman scene. And then that don't even exist no more. There used to be an all-woman scene with nothing but women. And those who fit in under that spectrum as well too. They only had one butch queen category. It wasn't using a butch queen. So if that shifted, not saying it don't exist no more. I don't know when the last time I heard of a woman scene that exists. So it shifts. So even before Kiki became where it was, women's was where it is. But now that we at this Kiki space to where it is, the baby, she big. So it ain't gonna do nothing but shift it to something else. That's all it's gonna do. It's gonna shift. I can honestly say, I've seen about like 4 to 5 shifts go on in this scene since I joined this bitch. She gonna change again. Are you ready for the change with it?
As far as the Kiki scene, like first of all, I bow down to these two. Just sitting next to like where it started, it is. Yeah, like it is such a honor, you know. Like I'm a Leo, so this space, we'd be so excited. Like so, it may seem like whatever, but I'm always in awe at like the people that I am blessed to be around and like call a friend. And for me, I didn't even like discover Kiki scene until maybe a couple of years ago, and that was because I know I love me some Dallas. And the Kiki scene in Gulf Coast is huge. I will always go out there to Marty's every Wednesday. Whenever I had a Dallas trip, I'm booking my flight for Wednesday morning because we're going to Marty's that night for the Kiki night. And I remember being like, I love this like scene, especially when mainstream could just like you just want nothing to do with it. It was so refreshing. And I can honestly and confidently say that me and one other person did rebirth the Kiki scene on the West Coast side. And so when I came over here, now I feel this responsibility to not only keep the integrity of what Kiki is, keep the integrity of what Juicy is, because carrying this name as a leader and a parent is a whole nother thing. But also trying to find the balance of how we move it forward while still keeping the integrity, right? Because things are changing, the industry is different, the climate is different, And so just bringing in new houses, making sure that parents have integrity, it's a lot. So that's like my main goal now. Like, yes, I'm in mainstream, yes, I'm doing my thing, but the Kiki scene and how it's growing so fast out here and how it's been a good time. We have had no issues, no fights. Well, it was a little open situation. There's been no fights out here, West Coast. West Coast, there's been like no fights. We've had no issues. Like, you know, it has been, and there's a couple about our parents in here. We got the Pack Rats, the House of Fubu. Like, it has been Telfars, you know, and no shade. When Juicy came over to the West Coast, it was like boom, Telfar, boom, bodega, boom. Like, all these houses started happening. And especially now, and I can say this to my West Coast people. One thing I made sure to do with some help of some other people, I made sure that whatever was happening in the mainstream, I know we had a very interesting couple years, that was not going to spill over into the Kiki scene. We had people over there trying to come throw functions over here because they couldn't throw functions over there, and I blocked that for you too. So just know that there's so much going on. No shade. But like, oh, yeah, I know we're not blending the two. So for me, like, this is such a passion thing that I didn't even, again, another thing I didn't expect to love or want to do, especially with Kiki, because y'all don't even know I'm not on the floor, which that's crazy. But my job is to like help do events and create safe spaces and stuff. So Kiki is like so dear to my heart. It's insane.
All right.
So we got one more question. We're gonna open it up to the audience. I know y'all might have some questions. But this is our last question. So, due in great part to all of y'all's contributions and career trajectories, I will argue that we are living in the post-underground era of ballroom. Where would you like to see the direction of ballroom to go? Do you see it continuing to flourish in media? Do you see it being a self-sustaining industry? What do you think is the next frontier for ballroom?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what's one thing that needs to be going on in ballroom. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it needs to. We need new leaders. We need to just wipe out all the people who have issues with new shit happening, with different stuff. We need different opinions. We need different people that's out there and that's willing to tell somebody, listen, that was back in the day, but we're in the present. It's okay, and it's okay with that.
You want GNC realness to come through?
No, GNC realness is not a thing. Realness, you're conforming to a gender. GNC, you're... I do feel like the ballroom community needs to be on a big platform, like a ball somewhere, like at a stadium somewhere, like no shade. I feel like that's where it needs to go, and it needs to be done properly. I feel like a lot of times when it comes to the ballroom scene overall and how it's structured, honestly, not many people will be attracted to how ballroom is being ran, especially when it comes to the industry. So that's why a lot of times when they deal with ballroom, they still want to work around it so that way everyone can be a part of it. Everyone is like excited to see it. Because I'm just gonna say something, but some stuff happened when we was on Legendary Honey where they didn't even air it because had they aired it, we would have been canceled earlier.
Okay.
So like, you know, there are things that happen in ballroom that are just not for the world, honey. They would cancel us in a heartbeat. I just want more success, and when I say success, it doesn't mean like, oh, more people getting gigs and stuff like that, but when I say success, I mean more so celebrating each other, showing more love, being compassionate for each other, and putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, and you know, you never know what somebody's going through, so try to be kind, try to be nice, don't kiss no ass, I'm not telling you. Amen. But just have grace, you know, show love. What I would like to say is...
All right, I feel like we are not in a post-op ballroom. There's never a post-op ballroom.
Post-era.
Like, I feel like it just continuously goes. It's been going since it was founded in a time before we even knew what it was, and it's been going on since then. So I feel like it is always this pre-era during time. Now I can say some things that exist, like where we said the changes need to happen. Some things exist in that should not exist now. And if we are not here for the change of it, then it ain't gonna be. It's gonna fall right through the cracks and loses its judge. And I think the reason why we existed as we're existing now, to every probably every other year you get something new ballroom in the industry. Don't know why, but we know why, because we can tell more than one story. We ain't got to tell a Vogan story. We ain't got to tell a Vogan story. We ain't got to tell like, oh my God, because everybody in the world thinks that ballroom is just voguing, which is another issue that we have to deal with, is to remind people that we are not just filled with just voguers. And when you hear about the ballroom community, you don't put the voguing ballroom scene. That don't make no sense. So my thing is, what I would like for, Naomi said it best, and we can see it because when we're in this space, and out of the space, you see how the acknowledgement goes. And it's not an acknowledgement because, the people were there, they worked before, because there could have been people who did it before myself and Naomi. And guess who chose to do it? Amen. And there are some people who are out there, but again, and there's some people who are after us who, as they say, know the formula. So, but my thing is, it's about knowing how to evolve what's happening and what you got going on right now to what's going to happen later on in the future. Because to be honest, I'm thinking about 5 years to now. I already know what's happening for ballroom 5 years right now because I see what's happening right now, what's happening today. And if the leaders don't step up, what's going to happen is you have the people who have the opportunity to take advantage of the space because you won't do so, they'll take advantage of it and get acknowledged for it. When you know that, because I'm telling you, because when it comes from a passionate place, this is why people try to fight against it, because they know they don't want it to be that way. Like Naomi said earlier about people wanting this underground scene to remain underground, but if it remained there, like the stuff that were going on from the time that if half the people in this room would experience that we've experienced, or some people may have those out there, but if you experience what we've experienced when it comes to just a category for even a damn trophy and what people would do. So what I mean by that is, if you aren't going to be the change, to change the nonsense, change the bullshit, acknowledge the good stuff, support those who are doing something great within it, we're still going to be ran by people who are going to sit and over or devalue what you have to add into it. And everybody has something to add into it. And it depends on what you're going to do with it to make it work. So for the later run for this industry, for this community, when it comes to the industry, yes, I would lay on me. I hope more people would step up and have that open and honest conversation, because like again, when we get inside these rooms, myself and Naomi know how to talk to these people. If it comes to something that we may not even know, we know how to communicate with them, because we can probably tell you some legendary stories, some pole stories, some Vogue Evolution stories. I can go on about this, of how we could do so many things about like telling what we've done in order for stuff to get to the space where it is. To sit in front of the CEO who created the whole motherfucking shit and tell them, no, that don't make no sense. And some people will be scared to say that because they're not sure how they'll take it. But if you say, no, that don't make no sense, they know you're there for something. And if you're right about it, you'll get exactly what you need.
Teacher, I like to know my just Stern. I'm gonna take that. It was Stern. Just again, I've recently been learning and being present, and so like being present, but also like being present and listening to this is inspiring for me as well. So with ballroom and industry moving forward, like my perspective is always coming from like industry into ballroom. What I've seen is what I've like now is, especially starting with like the pioneers like these two, like bridging the gap. I've always said, like jokingly, like I would never be an icon on someone's couch. Like I always, even with my kids underneath myself, I'm always like, you gotta have some balance. Like yes, you're doing this in ballroom, but also like, what are you doing outside of it? Like what is your passion? What is your career? And I'm loving seeing like the Honeys and the Baby Hurricanes, and when Deshaun did Rihanna, I'm loving seeing people bridge those gaps and do ballroom, but then take it to a whole other level. And I just want to see more of that. Like I love like the formula of like Basquiat and like how that came about, and like the people, those leaders, and like just like the Gucci's and the Lolas and like the stuff, like how we're bridging and intertwining, and it's not you have to choose, you have to do one. So I want each and every one of you and just everyone watching live, like do your best in ballroom, but also have that balance. Like show these motherfuckers that yeah, I'm a legend in ballroom, and I'm also a legend over here, and I also have this, and I have so much to contribute. As I look around, I see a lot of them, photographers and content creators and choreographers and dancers and talk show hosts on Wow Network. There's so much that we have to offer outside of just slamming our backs and walking up and down, you know what I'm saying? So I want everyone
Well, speak for yourself.
So I just want everyone to use all of your gifts like it will all intertwine, and I don't know. I feel like you'll feel like I feel better on the floor when I'm like whole. Like it's a different feeling when you're not there out of like desperation. Although that is a part of it. Like sometimes you got to go to get stuff out. You know, like when she had to go and took the mic, she had to do for her daughter Geneva.
I'm about to say,
Yes.
when I started
Like,
voguing, depression put me through.
No, you
That's
need
what
that.
got me.
Exactly, you need that.
Voguing with no emotion is
Yeah.
tacky.
No, I'm gonna say that.
Be hurt. Be hurt, bitch. Let that shit out on the floor. But let me ask you to what you were saying. One thing that I want to see Ballroom do is pour more into your own community and pour more into your own balls. I'm tired of going to a ball and I'm paying $50 at the ball and you ain't even got decor at the ball. Say the thing. Why am I coming to a function and it looks like even if I'm in a gym, I want to feel like I'm at an experience.
Yes.
Ballroom has become mainstream. There are people watching us, and if you want to show the value of ballroom and you want to throw a ball just because, make it worth it.
Table
I'm tired of the costumes pinwheels too.
And start on time. I'm tired of balls starting late. And I'm tired of the people. It's also y'all fault because y'all be saying, not y'all specifically, but I say because people's favorite thing to say is, well, I'm not going to get there on time because it's not going to start on time. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The day that I have my ball,
Good luck.
and it says it's starting at 9, I'm starting at 8:59.
Do we have any questions in the room?
They should line up here.
This is kind of a question you guys already got. I just want to get to the nitty gritty. How do you feel like the attention and publicity Ballroom has gotten over like the last 5 years has affected it negatively and positively?
Can I tell you something? No shade. It's always been there.
Yeah.
Let me be honest, like during a time where social media wasn't a thing now, they used to have that shady shit back then. What was it, the shade rooms or the Walk Me Wednesdays or the Justice Report? It goes back. Justice Report, the Shade Room, Walk Me Wednesdays, well, you all have these groups. So it existed. Everybody still got read the same way. Just that then you didn't know who it was because they were too afraid to. But now you have an ideal, although some people still hide behind it. But again, that ain't did nothing but make you tough. That means what you were doing had to be some type of change because they put you on top of a list and they felt a need to read you. So it probably isn't as crazy as it is today because now they can take a photo of your ass back when you were like 2 years old and put it up. But compared to back then, they read in a complete different way. So it did exist, but now because of how technology is, child, she can do some research on it.
That's the real girl.
Yes, it can happen any type of way. So again, just what I'm saying is back then they still had it. It was just in a different format. And now compared to what it is now, we can see somebody get read off of a Twitter post, and then all of a sudden it just goes wild.
Hi. My question is, me just joining Ballroom. I've been in Ballroom for about 9 to 10 months, almost a year.
Word virgin.
Girl. Well, I already have an LSS in both scenes, but that's another thing. I've been doing my thing, and I've had a lot of different brands and things approach me, and I guess everything has came at me so fast with Ballroom and with outside of Ballroom, companies and different things asking me to be a part of them, and different people wanting my voice for whatever they're utilizing it for. But I was just wondering, like with that, how do you guys now, because you guys have your platform, how do you guys navigate all of the things and all of the brands trying to come at you? And then like me being new, what advice would you give me for just like remaining humble and still like, I want to focus more on my Ballroom career and really building that? Because I was going to just take everything, but I'm like, I still am navigating those spaces, but I'm like, I want to really solidify myself before I come out here like I'm the boom done data. And girls are like, well, who is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? So what advice would you give somebody who has a lot of opportunities in Hollywood, but still wants to build their platform in Ballroom?
I could touch on that a little bit. I think you have to, have like that real conversation with yourself. Like, am I prepared and ready to put myself in this space to represent my scene because I am so new? That's the first question. I think the second question is you have to, again, what like Leomi said, like why are they reaching out? Like if you are so new and there really isn't much to go back and see, like
Based off resume.
Based off resume and stuff like that, you have to just kind of take, a lot into play. Now, sometimes there are opportunities that we may feel like we're not ready for, that we crush. So it's a discernment you have to have. But I do feel as though like that's when you have to have the conversation with yourself and say, do I feel equipped? Am I ready for this? And if you're not, there's been so many jobs as a choreographer that I've been hired for, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I network out, I network across. I call my friend over here, I call this person, hey, I may not be ready for this, but I can get someone for you for this, and we can work together, you know, like for the greater good of the situation. Yeah. So I would approach it more so that way. It's just having that real conversation with yourself, and if you feel like I don't know, it's okay to call a friend. Yeah. Bring a friend in, bring a legend, an icon that you're comfortable with, and that way you feel safe because you have them with you, and you can still get the job done, and your reputation is still good, and you still have that relationship with those people.
I was just about to say the same thing. Discernment is when you're working in the industry, you have to have that foundation. We're working in the industry, but that spiritual foundation will get you in the doors that were closed in your face. I mean, most of you guys do Jack and Reach LA. We already know. We are seized. But it warmed my heart to see you guys when I saw the Wiz. I was like, damn, they shut. Yeah. I was so upset that you could not say Wonder Woman, because that was upsetting to me because you earned that. Yeah. But again, when you're in the industry and you're learning in front of people, you learn to speak in soundbite. A lot of times people don't see the work that goes on behind the scenes because they just see the front. So it's a testament to all of you guys to still remain humble in who you are from the days I met you guys a long time ago, because again, it shows. They can say what they want, the camera can show one thing, but your humbleness, your humility, and your discernment in opening the doors when doors have been shut in our faces is the true testament. Yes, Lord. So much
I know you said earlier about touching on to distributing to the community and helping others and being parents, like being moms and dads. So I was wondering, like, the first experience that you had, like, were you like nervous, or were you excited to become like a parent to the youth, or was you like scared to death, or like excited?
For me, it kind of came off natural. I'm a very loving, caring person. A little too loving and caring sometimes for certain people, because you just never know. You gotta understand how people receive love and stuff like that. So I had to learn that. But for me, it was easy in a sense of like giving people advice and stepping out and showing them love and making them feel celebrated and loved. But it was also hard, like seeing some people make like certain mistakes or certain decisions in their life, and that you want to really be pushy about, but you still have to understand that they're an adult. So it plays a part. But I feel like the most beautiful thing about me and a lot of my kids is that I have kids everywhere, even ones that I have never met, because of my journey, because of who I am. People DM me all the time, asking for advice or things like that, and I'm always open to like talking to people, because when I came into the scene, I never had anyone who was like loving and caring and was like, oh, listen, you're in the ballroom scene too, here it is. It was a lot of shade, cattiness, and like, I never wanted to be that. I never wanted to be the pain that I experienced in the world, so I became the opposite. So being a mother figure and being a leader has always been easy for me, because I show up for people the way I would have loved someone to show up for me.
Founding mother, commercial success.
Yeah, I would love to answer. I got too many kids sometimes, y'all. That's because, you know, I move right, move well, but, you know, I guess when you'll learn definitely in this space in ballroom, sometimes you become a leader and not even know you're a leader. Yes. And you're a leader by actions, and sometimes they're not actions about you participate, it's action how people see you, even within that interaction. So it's a natural thing. I can honestly say I didn't know I wanted to be a parent until somebody came to me and was like, can you be my father? And I was like, what does that mean? And now I have to be like, all right, whoa, got so many, we need to talk. So my thing is, when you know, it naturally comes because either they see the work, they see something within you that works out for them, or obviously you must hold some type of knowledge because you could give that to somebody you do see as well. So it naturally happens sometimes you don't even ask for it. And then if you're part of this community, no shade, majority of the people, no matter if you're a good person, you're a winner, a person who get out there, immediately they're gonna think that you're some type of leader until you really get to know the people.
I would say like it was the same. Like I think I said in everything I talked about. Like I didn't choose this. It was Jack saw it in me for Gucci, and Courtney and Malik saw it in me for Juicy, and it was just like, okay. I think the hardest thing for me has been getting out of, again, my imposter syndrome. That's something that I deal with a lot, and just kind of like giving myself just like a little pat and some flowers and stuff.
Yeah, because like you was doing shit before Gucci. Yeah, in that other house before you know.
I was a garçon. I was a garçon first.
Right.
Well, no garçon split. I never let garçon. They split. That's when Marcus and Gia was mother. Oh, sorry, Ivani and Gia. And then we went to Mizrahi, Marcus and Gia, and then Mizrahi split when the blah 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 blah. So I never left the house. They just left me, and I was like, oh. And I remember I took a picture with Amaya and Marlon Carmen, like, you a Margiela? I'm like, what is a Margiela? Anyway, so for me, like, I think the biggest thing has always been just trying to learn that every one of my, I don't even like calling them kids, because half of them are close to my age, but everyone needs a different type of love. You cannot parent everyone the same. And so that's what I've been learning, especially with Juicy, because them juices is something serious. But you kind of have to have like grace and like know that there's a balance of like I'm your parent, but you also are an adult. So like it's only so much you can do when we're also dealing with real life and then
I used to beat my kids.
Like that was back when it wasn't canceled. Nowadays you tell the kids something wrong, you on Facebook and something going on. Like it's a whole nother game now. So I'm enjoying the process. And I reach out. I call Courtney. I bug her down. She be ignoring me. I call Jack. I call Kelly. As crazy as that may be, she has advice too. Like I'm not afraid to reach out and be like, I don't know. Ooh, I don't know what's going on. And I reach out to my fellow other parents who are dealing with the same shit. You know, like how do we deal with this? And sometimes, like we have your house kids and you have your personal kids, and that's a whole nother situation. Or if you are a leader that has been put into a position, you know, like when I became a leader over at Gucci, there was this battle of like, nobody's respecting me. And Jack and Kelly had to sit me down and be like, you have to bring in your own kids. Like you can't come in and there's a regulation, that's not how they can usher in your own people and people will fall in line. So it's also that thing. So just having patience, grace is the word, but grace with yourself, grace with your kids, and if you went for the long haul, just take your time. Like you're gonna continue to grow with each other, everyone's gonna make mistakes. As a leader, you have to, it's always your fault at some point. Like you just have to kind of take it, deal with it, you know, and keep it moving for the greater good of like the house, the chapter, and just handle things. It's a lot. I could keep going, but I love it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I have like my purpose is much more than me now.
Yes, I really want it.
Hi, panel. I love every single one of y'all up here. Thank you so much.
Familiar.
They should tell me who I am.
You look familiar. I follow you on Facebook.
Same. Yeah, I've been following you for 20 years. So my question is for Deshaun and Naomi. I have watched both of y'all literally for 20 years, since the early 2000s, sitting on the steps of the clubhouse to get it for free. You know what I'm saying? Way back in the day. I remember
Before
that.
11.
Yes, before 11, baby. Let's be clear. Yes. And my question is based around the appropriation and why we get so upset when folks outside of Ballroom use our lingo, use our language, say death drop instead of dip. My thing is people don't understand that even in the queer scene, in the gay scene, we were on the bottom, right?
Yes.
There was the white gays, there was the black gays, there was everybody else, and then there was Ballroom. And now everybody loves you if you're in Ballroom. They love that shit. But back in the day, they hated us. If you were in Ballroom, you couldn't date outside of Ballroom. No. You a Ballroom kid? Hell no.
Oh, you a Ballroom kid?
Yeah, you crafty, you do all this stuff. So, I don't want to continue speaking because I'm asking y'all the question. How do you feel emotionally when when our culture is appropriated?
For me, I'd be pissed the fuck off. And it pisses me off more so, especially when it's like queer people trying to appropriate. I'm like, oh, like, come on. And like, I've been in spaces when I first started traveling overseas, I was going to dance competitions, right? And I would go to these dance competitions and they would always be like, oh, that's that voguing stuff. Like, they always like made you feel like you was less than. You vogue, they'd be like, oh, you vogue? That's not real dancing. And like, there was a time where I was in Czech Republic, and I was the only Vogue teacher there, of course. And it was primarily more like hip hop, break dancers, you know, more of like that kind of scene. So you know, they were very anti. While throughout my stay there, nobody really wanted to talk to me except for the students. Like the other people, they looked at me like I was a creature. And every time, right before we go, they call us out to judge. We usually do a judge showcase. I didn't want to do my judge showcase because I felt like y'all treated me like shit. Y'all don't deserve this. But something in me told me, Naomi, you have been the change. Like, your Vogue, it's a language on its own. And I vogued. And mind you, with the way I vogued in that clip, you could tell I was pissed the fuck off. But when I was done, the whole room was on their feet. The whole room. And that to me showed me, it was like, Ballroom has been such a powerful thing for anyone that's a part of Ballroom. And when I see appropriation, it really makes me feel some type of way because I remember being ridiculed left and right just because. And now you have all these people, they want to be sitting here. And we call it nogging because it's a mockery to voguing. Yeah. We don't call it nogging because it's not expertise. We call it nogging because it's a mockery. There's a difference between someone who's a beginner and someone who's a fucking noga. And I feel like this will not change unless we as a community put our foots down and we constantly let these people know that it's not right. Because they will continuously feel like it's okay. And there's more people out there making it feel like it's okay than it is of people that are fighting to let people know what it really is.
Right.
Shame on y'all.
Who else we got?
Hey, Sean, did you want to answer this question?
Well, it's. I mean, I guess I get upset because again, it changes what you already, the work you put in. If you want somebody to change who you are being today, who you sat and woke up, slept, shit, fought, slept, cried, went through some family shit and want somebody to sit and change and told you what you were doing differently when it wasn't that way. Right. So yes, when it happens, like you figure out ways so it can get acknowledged or it can get like fixed or there's a resolution to the problems. And I always bring it back to like, I remember opening a book, a magazine a long time ago and it said the top 10 worst dancing and Vogue was on there. That was before this was where it is. And now I'm like, bitch, I want to go back to that clip. And I find it because I posted it up on Facebook. But when it come back as a memory, I'm going to take it, I'm going to re-put it back out there because it had Willie Ninja imagery and it said voguing. And I'm like, holy shit. So when I find that, this is exactly what I mean because here we are in the room. I love this so fucking much, but here's the weird shit that's happening. Right. But now we are at it today, and I can probably go back to that same publication because I remember they probably made a few posts about some viral shit that went on in the ballroom scene, no matter what it was, in any conjunction. So
now it's celebrated.
Yes, now it's celebrated. So again, I guess our issue is, the issue that's at hand here is if we don't address it, it's just gonna go on and be the fuckery. And this is why, yes, we should find ways. It's why, like, I don't care if somebody get mad because if the people who we are part of right now be keying because the person said that. So who's gonna do that? Are we just gonna read? This is my other issue because our community tends to just read rather than actually go after it and figure out a solution to the problem. We wanna read and think that's the answer solution rather than the people who's probably sitting next to them like, bitch, you're wrong.
And y'all be reading the wrong people. Because when Jason Lee was on social media a few years ago talking shit about ballroom dancers, nobody addressed him. And I addressed his ass. He inboxed me like, oh, I wasn't talking about you. I actually love you. I said, you are talking about me. You're talking about ballroom. You're talking about me. He's like, no, I'm sorry. I apologize. I said, I don't need the apology. My community does. He said, well, if we can't have a successful conversation, then you're going to be blocked. I said, goodbye.
Can I tell y'all, bro? I see the messages.
I'll show y'all. No shade. Y'all should not be afraid to check a bitch. No shade. Because I had to check Danielle Polanco too a few years ago. That's another thing. You gotta check them.
So is, well, it's kind of like two questions because.
Can we make it one?
Well, it's one question, but it's like, a two-part to it. So do you guys feel like the ballroom community adds to the mental health or takes away from the mental health of the community? And what would you like to see more of or less of?
Okay. I feel like ballroom adds to mental for those who are trying to build confidence and they don't really have, they don't have the balls to really get out there and do something and just be able to just do it. But it can be detrimental. It can be very bad because you're being judged. And a lot of people, they don't have the backbone to sit in front of someone and be judged and actually take criticism, whether it's good or bad. And I feel like a lot of times nowadays, people come into the scene thinking it's glamorous. And everybody wants to talk about, oh, it's too much shade, but that's what ballroom was built on. Literally. And it's not that and I don't say that it's good. I don't feel like it's good. It could be shade, it could be fun to a certain extent. It should always be some kind of level of respect. And I feel like that's where the lines are blurred. What I would love to see more is people speaking up about their issues, but not in a sense where they want to cancel shit. Like you should be able to express yourself and how you feel, and it'd be okay, whether I agree with you or not. One thing that I would like to see less of is the shade that people throw towards each other outside of ballroom. Because it's like ballroom shade is one thing. I'm gonna get on the floor and Miss Thing, you think you're gonna eat me, I'm gonna chew you up. But after that, there's no reason why I should go on social media and you're reading me because I beat you. Like that to me, that becomes tacky. It takes away from the competition and the actual thing. Back in the days, a bitch chop you, you would go home and you would get better, and you would come out and you would sit there, you serve it in front of that judge like, yeah, bitch, give me my 10s now, ho. Or a bitch eat you and you don't think she should have ate you, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna practice my shit, because after I eat you, I'm like, you got me last time. You know, that's real ballroom shit. Not being upset, you wanna beat the bitch up, no. Stop macing the judges. I wanna see less of approaching the judges. Wait until after the function to know why I chopped you. And don't even do that, because maybe we won't remember. Send them the clip.
I would say with the mental health, I would say, again, like just piggybacking, I think it definitely gives people the space and the confidence to do something that they normally wouldn't do or they cannot do in another space, right? It builds a the creativity I see in some of these effects and these looks that people come up with would eat so many designers out right now. The insanity is insane. I can name some people that I just be like, how did you even come up with that? On the flip side, I would say, I think it a lot of times feeds the wrong egos. A lot of times people feel like they are exempt from a chop or exempt from getting beat. I see a lot of kittens post, oh, they played tonight when you was battling a legend. How do you feel like you got You know, and they go on Facebook and they read, you washed up legend, da 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 da. I don't even see you, little girl, but if it went your way, it would have been a fab night. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's that kind of in between, but I don't really put that just on ballroom. That's entertainment, that's the industry. I see so many similarities in between the two. I think it's just how we digest and our discernment and just kind of it makes you tough. If you're on ballroom, you are a tough cookie. Whether you acted or not, or however you are with your emotions, it takes a lot. So, yeah.
I'll say one thing on the mental health side of it all. A lot of people come in this space like Randomly Static, expecting the beautiful world, but when you get the understanding of what we actually do when we're here, and you kind of asked about do ballroom put mental health on a person or do people? It's vice versa, because I would say this. Depends on who you learn ballroom from, is when you're going to get your mental health experience.
Baby! No shit!
On top of that, sometimes it sucks because you could be as vulnerable as you are, but get this one person who not manipulate, and not saying that that's what they're doing, but manipulate this opportunity, having that knowledge to throw what they have on top of you. So it takes you as being a smart individual, even jumping into it, to know what you're dealing with when it comes to the end of the long run. That's the reality. So yes, there's a lot of mental health in the ballroom scene as issues and problems. So it comes with the person and also the people who they choose to deal with. Right. So you have to be smart enough to know that although it's cute that they got a wonderful place and it's all done through craft, but no, it's done through craft. You know, that's just one part of it all, but it depends on the person and also what you're putting yourself in the experience with.
I would just like to add something to value for that question. When you really think about Ballroom and how it was created, it's a lot of broken people coming together. So when you bring that many broken people into one situation, it's going to get messy. I think collectively we have to give each other and the scene grace to be human, grace to grow, grace to mess up and come back together. Part of why I put these spaces together is for us to collectively deal with our trauma and have resources and tools for mental health.
Yes, 1, 2, and 3.
I'm okay. Hi, so Mike, it's Mike.
We've got Steve.
Okay, alright, okay. So I'm not sure how much this pertains to the future of Ballroom necessarily, but you know, being in the scene for a little bit and like seeing its ups and downs and like all the politics that go behind it, I guess my question is, has there been a time that you have fallen out of love with your craft or Ballroom, and how did you fall back in love with it again?
That happens all the time, honey. It does. It happens all the time, especially if you're in it for a very long time. Like, I've been a part of Ballroom for 20 years. I fell out of love for Ballroom so many different times, and for so many different reasons. Personal, sometimes because of Ballroom. The thing is about when you're an artist, sometimes you lose inspiration. Like you need to be re-inspired sometimes. Sometimes you need to take a break and be like, listen, I'm gonna do something else and then I can come back to this and be re-inspired. So I feel like that happens overall with just artistry. It doesn't just pertain to Ballroom, but yeah.
I said earlier, somehow we always want to bring it back. I don't know why, and like, you know, we get to these spaces of, you'll get tired of going through this repetitious kind of situation, whether how it is for you, where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't keep seeing a fight all the time. You know, some people base their experience on Ballroom because they've seen fights and they have nothing to do with the fights, but they're tired of just seeing it, and that becomes the issue, and they'll be gone for a while, but then again, they wind up popping back at a function again. And you don't know why, whether it's the entertainment factor that you miss or something you want to go back to it, but again, you find yourself going back. So yes, you fall out of love with it. Yes, you want to be like, I'm over Ballroom right now, I don't want to see nothing about it, I don't want to hear it, and somehow you end up back.
Because for 20 years I was the janitor of Ballroom, mopping and sweeping floors. I'm tired of that.
I'm tired of it
I'm a
being
beauty
called
queen now.
I would say, like, on the industry side, it's so crazy how, like, we kind of had the conversation back there. We were talking about this, taking a break. Like, I did a TV show, and a part of the process of the shows, we had to do 3 rounds of therapy with therapists.
Oh, work.
Yes.
Work.
And in doing that, I kept dealing with the same therapist, and I want to say maybe after COVID, I wouldn't say I fell out of love with dance. I think I hit like a wall where I was like, what else? You know? It was a good wall because I had danced for everybody I wanted to dance for, but it was kind of like I didn't know what I wanted to do next. And I was also working with someone who I didn't know was creating a trauma within myself, which with how they expected you to show up in a room and how they communicated that with you, which was a little negative and kind of tear downish in a way. And so it built insecurity within me where I felt inadequate on the job I was well qualified to do. And that spilled into classes. Like, I was messing up in classes, I was messing up when it was time for groups, I was messing up on jobs that was easy. Like, bitch, I'm Jeremy Copeland, like, how you fucking up on that, you know? And so in therapy, I've realized that it was my mentors and the people that I had around me that were projecting on me, and I built some trauma which made me fall out of love because I felt inadequate. So I stepped away and started acting and doing other things to ignore what was work, to ignore like what was really going on within myself. And just recently, I was kind of like, I think I was watching, who was that? I don't know who I was. It might have been. I was watching some artists, and I got that spark. Like, oh, okay. Like, I still have my clients and stuff I would do, but it wasn't so recent. I'm like, no, but I still have more to say. I still have more to do. I still want to do this, and I had to like really figure out what that was. So sometimes it's not that you just fell out of love. There might be something going on, and there might be someone that's feeding into you that's unhealthy. You have to figure that out. So.
Last question.
Uplift. And we want we want our lady of the night to end. So go ahead and get the tell for, and then let's let the woman in. Michelle.
My question would be in regards to the Kiki scene. Do you think that the Kiki scene right now should focus more on being a funner scene or being more focused on the youth?
Well, the Kiki scene was created for the youth to express themselves. It has become a very, very big competition now, so it has become a little bit more stern. I just feel like there are a lot of leaders in the Kiki scene that have been in the Kiki scene since it started because they couldn't make it in the mainstream. So a lot of those people kind of like hold on to those struggles that they had to. They're taking up spaces in these Kiki scenes. I think it should be both fun and pouring into the youth because it started off as fun and it started off pouring into the youth in a sense of giving them a space to be able to create and to become whatever they want to become and enjoy these different categories and to express those categories whichever way they want to.
She said it all.
I just want to commend y'all, thank y'all so much for taking the time out to just like come here and just deliver that information for the community who might not even understand about the different ways that you all show up in community. I, being a community leader, have always watched y'all and been inspired by y'all walk. And so what came to me today is like, because y'all pour into so many spaces, what is y'all self-care routine? How do you take care of yourself?
Child, let me start. I just said I just said I gotta work on my well-being right now. My 2024 has started real unique, but again, you know, if you don't, it starts with you, child. If you can't pull yourself in and together to know, acknowledge the shit that you're going to go through in life, you know, it's a part of the process if you don't know how to take care of yourself. And regardless of me just only, yes, I think about myself. Yes, I do. But I know the things that I do on the outside of this is going to be reflective on others because I'm always being acknowledged of how much work I've done to make sure they can do what they do. So in order to take care of myself, you have to pull yourself back in. And I'll be in my room sometimes for hours just sitting there trying to figure out what's best and next because if I'm not beating my Virgo ass self up. But at the same time, you know, if you don't know how to take care of yourself to acknowledge these situations, get over these outcomes, or learn how to understand that this was maybe something you can go through so you can get some type of knowledge to move forward from that is where you take care of that self-care. Because if not, then, you know, a lot of people put on blanketed faces just to be outside. And I always say that people with less of talent have to put on more of a front. So what you'll see from us is vulnerability majority of the time if we are out there because we have to present ourselves in these spaces, although we feel like we this is not for us, but we have to. So that fitting sometimes can be in front of others, you know, and it's so vulnerable. Like, but you have to like really take over the space and know who you are as a person, as you are standing here on this earth. You are you for a reason, and if you don't know how to understand that, own that, and address it when it needs to, then you know who are you being. So yes, the self-care happens indoors and also outdoors as well too, because the vulnerable spaces can be just about anywhere. So I'm not sure what everybody does to take care of themselves, whether it's candles, whether it's them sitting there praying, whether they got a God they believe in, or somebody has a spiritual belief. But again, like if you don't know how to take yourself, to fix yourself in space, it can be things that, you know, bring a lot to the forefront that makes it hard. So what a person like me do, like I said, my 2024, my horoscope told me I need to sit and work on my well-being because I know my work ethic has been doing exactly what it needs to do. So if I'm not showing up and my energy isn't speaking to you before I say something, something ain't right. Damn, Deshaun.
For me, self-care, I honestly started taking more accountability with caring for myself the past like 2 years, I want to say. My grandmother passed away 2 years ago, a few weeks right before my birthday, and my grandmother was my mother and my father. So for me, like, she has been like, you know, she's been everything to me. After losing her, I was working for a bit, and then she passed like in April, and then around August, I'm like, girl, you literally have spent the past decade and a half literally working. not even taking a vacation. Never took a vacation. And when I did was gonna take a vacation was for my birthday, but my grandmother passed, so I canceled it. But in August, I decided to take a whole year off work. I realized that I was a person who always needed people around me. I always needed to have company, always. And for the past year and a half, I literally just took time for myself, doing things that made me happy. And within that year and a couple of months, I have found peace in myself in ways that I never thought that I can accomplish. Because life is always on the go. You know, you never know what's gonna hit you. For me, it's important to know that I should pour into myself as much as I've poured into so many others, even without trying. And self-care is important. Love on yourself. Nobody's gonna love on you the way you're gonna love on yourself, and finding different ways to love on yourself, even on an everyday basis, is fun. It's fun. So I encourage people to do that. Love on yourself and do things that make you happy. Fuck what anybody has to say. Fuck other people's opinions. Don't second guess yourself. Just go for it. Just do things. Because I have been a person where a lot of times I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm afraid to do things. I'm a Taurus, so we love comfortability. so yeah, you know, y'all know. But I also learned in my journey that if your life is too comfortable, you're not growing. You're not learning. So being uncomfortable is fun.
I'm still learning my self-care. But as they were talking, I started kind of like replaying stuff I started doing. So like in the morning, because my mornings normally start around like 6:37. Because I also work for Fendi. But in the mornings, I don't listen to music. Because as a choreographer, when I hear music, my mind goes berserk. Like, it's like I cannot, you know. So I started listening to podcasts. I started watching a lot of interviews. I like hearing stories because that kind of gets me through what's happening. I always hear little gems. I love the Andrew Martinez podcast. Like certain things, like just hearing other people's stories can be very motivating, especially in this industry. And you feel as though you're by yourself, but you're not. There's so much. I love Deshaun's. I learned so much from Deshaun's podcast.
No shame.
Episodes of Figuring Out Who. Like I just started doing stuff like that. Definitely helped. Therapy, which was something that was not taught in my house. No one in my family has ever done therapy. It was like, talk to your pastor, talk to God. No, like I need to.
They make you feel like you're crazy.
Yes,
like
exactly.
therapy is not for the crazy. Therapy is to help you navigate through your emotions, your feelings, your ups and downs.
You start to notice and you start to pinpoint things like, oh, like you realize everything connects from like the dirt. Like everything is rooted the way how I am with my non-lack of relationships, how I am with friends, why do I disappear for 4 months and everyone's like, where's Jeremy at? Or why do I work myself? I can literally have the flu, the stomach virus, and strep throat, and I will be on set like, yeah, I could do the job. Like, I'm that person, you know, like Ballroom said my thing.
You're the reason why COVID spread.
Actually, I got it, what was it? Alpha Omega 2020, I think it was me.
I ain't go to that ball. I was at home watching the live with my COVID mask on.
It was me and Dawn had it. But no, just like dealing with things that I hadn't dealt with, like certain traumas. Like my first world tour I ever booked in my life, I was getting evicted that morning. I knew when I left that rehearsal, I didn't have nowhere to stay. I put everything in black trash bags as much as I could, brought it to a friend's house, and I went to rehearsal for 8 hours. And I knew that when I left, I didn't know where I was going, but I just knew I had like tunnel vision. And so although that can be great, it helps you navigate, it creates so much that is undealt with. And so it's me going through those things now, like, okay, and not pushing that on like my kids and like my chapters, but like just trying to deal with that. And so that's been my mental health and my self-care is going back to chapter 1 and figuring out what the fuck is wrong with you and let's fix it.
I love you, Charlie.
Can we give our panel a round of applause? Let's see a few listeners to the outbound and legends. I just want to say a few things. And I don't know too long ago, but I believe in giving people their flowers while we have them. I feel like I would be remiss. I got to have this moment with Leonie yesterday on our live. Thank you all for sending me. But Deshaun, I was telling Leonie yesterday that thank you for your representation on America's Best Dance Crew in 2009. That was the first time that I ever saw Black queer representation
Beautiful
on TV.
chocolate man.
This actually I saw after. I saw Noah's Ark after I saw them on America's Best Dance Crew, and that was game changing for me. That actually led me to find Logo because I needed more Black queer representation. So thank you for all you do for our community, for showing up today and pouring back into the next generation. I named it Future of the Scene because I knew that the future was being made now, and we needed a place where we could come together and learn our elements and hone our craft, but to also have these conversations to bring in people that have so much to offer the people coming behind us. And so we don't get these opportunities at balls to really hear people's stories and hear why they are the way they are. So it means the world that you showed up for community night. So I thank you and I applaud you for that.
Like you said, I appreciate your grace with us and being out and about, and not what you do for Ballroom as a whole, but even specifically for the West Coast. Because that Basquiat movement is fab, no shade. Even Steve, like no shade. You been to a Basquiat game night? No, hey, what? No prodigy, okay? But just always being gracious. Like I told you when I first saw you, I didn't know what to do. You still gave. It was still gracious. Look looking at me, girl. One chop, no shade. So thank you.
Icon, Leonie, it has been a pleasure to have you here on behalf of Out Here. It was a dream of a dream of a dream that you would say yes to collaborating with us. Your humility, but also your powerful dignity is so inspiring to me and inspiring to me. You cannot buy that. And I just want everybody to just please give another round of applause for this icon. I don't think we talk about enough that this woman single-handedly paved the way for ballroom artists in the entertainment industry. She took the lashes, she took the beating for us. And we thank you and we celebrate you in that, and I know that there is so much more that this world has to offer you, but on behalf of the new generation of Ballroom, we apologize that we didn't cherish you the way that we should have, but we're gonna do better now.
And like you said, Grace, y'all, this is who she is. And I recall gagging at our Miyake Mugler induction. Naomi was there. She's involved in the house and in the trenches. And I remember, oh girl, wait. Now wait. I mean, everybody, and just knowing even afterwards the grace upon granted the membership. And it continues every time I sing you. It's always been love. Organic, no Whole Foods needed, okay? I'm so proud of you. Keep it up. Come on, Lance. We're on West Coast. I'm West Coast Juicy Father. You said. You said. You said.
Jeremy, I just thank you for always giving us your guest here Out Here, always showing up whenever we need you. I've seen how hard you work and how you always show up for community. I think it is an example for other parents on the West Coast that there really are no excuses. There should be no excuses when it comes to showing up for your kids and showing up for community. A lot of legends like to read and throw shade, but not in the trenches actually trying to teach the kids how to be better. So I thank you for always showing up.
You better be here. So, as he said too, like I said, for also bringing me into the legacy of juicing y'all. When I tell y'all, I love your foundational aspect, and that's one thing that wouldn't be over with the allure of Juicy. I went to the first Juicy practice, and I remember we was keying for like 30 or 40 minutes, and Jeremy was like, y'all wait, y'all come sit down. Y'all, this was the first time I remember doing a mental health check-in in a ballroom space, and I said, bitch, I'm home, no shade. Bitch, I'm paying this mortgage down. You know, it's like, let's be clear. No shade, and then even after that, going out to eat, and no shade, I felt bad. I paid for the house. You remember that, Jeremy? Yeah, I guess that's why my other, no shade.
Y'all, he dinged the whole Denny's staff. Like,
Oh, I did. No shade. I had started a new chapter at Denny's. We had the overseer and the grill. We had what was it? We had a Grand Slam princess. No shade, no tea. And I gotta keep my folks from Grand Slam. They live for me. But no, I knew then, like I knew I was home. That I was juicy for life. But I love that outside of being fab on the floor, no shade. We gotta love each other and love on each other. Like what's going on? Like for real. So thank you. And like I said, and now curating leaders such as myself. I'm proud of you. I'm rooting for you. I'm here. No shade. Use me. Feely.
All right, so if you didn't get your ticket to Leonie's class tomorrow, y'all gonna have to beg her to do a class on Saturday because it's sold out, right? It's sold out. Maybe we can get her back in the spring or summer. But also, if you aren't aware, I've partnered with the icon Divine Gorgeous Gucci and legendary Tiana St. Laurent on the Royal Vogue Night, which is this Sunday. I want to see y'all on the floor. There's no category less than $250.
How much is space?
I think $250. Base is $250. Runway is $500, and the grand prize is $1,000 for performance. Leonie is on the panel. I would not attempt to do a 360 in front of the icon if it's not right.
Y'all better perform like a yacht in New York.
Okay? Like you at OTA with the slushies. But it has been a pleasure to have you all here tonight. Get home safe, and I hope to see your beautiful faces on Sunday.